Recently, Candace Owens testified at the Joint Sub-Committee hearing in front of Congress. The meeting was called Confronting Violence. And upon further research, discovered that there is a bill being considered, H.R. 3106, by the 116th Congress. Brother George, peace, brother. This time I will go into a reading of it, but I did want to give you a quick backdrop on what was said at that meeting, and then we will go into H.R. 3106. That bill is referred to as the Data Act, but deeper than that, it is, let's see, it has a lot of ramifications that we must discuss and bring out. But first, let's see what she says. Roland. Yeah. It's gonna be one of them technology days, huh? Hey, brother George, you gotta show me how to do pre-records. Oh, too bad he's gone already. There we go.
That's why we're seeing so many of these hearings back to back, despite other threats that are facing this nation. I want to reiterate that point. White supremacy is real, just as racism is real, but neither of these ideologies are real in this room. They have become mechanisms for the left to continue to
I'm gonna need StreamYard from my phone because this technology, it'll probably slow down my phone too, though. We will see if technology will allow for us to move forward with the information, man. Hey, here we go. A reading of H.R. Bill 3106. Today is the 28th of September. Early morning episode. Or should I say a speed reading of H.R. 3106 from the 116th Congress, first session, to require a joint domestic terrorism report established within the Department of Homeland Security and National Center for the Study of Domestic Terrorism, authorize research within the Department of Homeland Security on current trends in domestic terrorism and for other purposes. To require the report to establish within that Department of Homeland Security a National Center for the Study of, to authorize research within that department on the current trends. Those who signed a bill, don't forget for other purposes, man. I'm gonna be done in 5, man, because I'm gonna come join the premiere. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. This act may be cited as the Domestic and International Terrorism Documentation and Analysis of Threats in America Act, or the Domestic and International Terrorism Data Act. In this act, number 1, line item 10, appropriate congressional committees. The term appropriate congressional committees means the Committee on Homeland Security, the Committee on Judiciary, and the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence of the House of Representatives and the Committee of Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, the Committee on the Judiciary, and the Select Committee on Intelligence of the Senate. Appointing a director, which means the director of the FBI. Domestic terrorism is the term. Domestic terrorism has the meaning given under Section 2331 of Title 18, United States Code. Hate crime, criminal offense committed in violation of those certain sections. International terrorism, same sections there. Something that stood out to me here, line item here, was point 6. The term online platform means any public-facing website, web application, or digital application, including a mobile application, and includes a social network and an ad network, a search engine, or an email service. Shots fired. Personally identifiable information is individually elicited, collected, stored, or maintained by an agency, including the following, such as name, social security number, place of birth, biometric records, and any other information that is linked or linkable to an individual, such as medical, educational, financial, or employment information. Federal efforts against domestic terrorism and international terrorism, joint domestic terrorism. This is about the report. An annual report required no later than 180 days after the date of the enactment of this act, and annually thereafter for 5 years. Secretary and Attorney General and the Director shall submit to the Comptroller General of the United States and the appropriate congressional committees a joint report on domestic and international terrorism. Each report submitted shall include all guidance, policy memos, and related documents regarding the following: criteria for opening up an investigation on domestic or international terrorism or another crime with a nexus to domestic terrorism or international terrorism, including any standards of proof required before opening such an investigation. Sharing that information across the law enforcement agencies. Compliance with privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties policies and protections, including protections against the public release of names of personally identifiable information involved in those incidents, investigations, indictments, prosecutions, or convictions for which data is reported. A description of the methodology utilized to identify domestic terrorism and international terrorism investigative classifications, including its subcategories, and to assign those classifications pursuant to those incidents. Threat prioritization determinations made each year by the Fed, consistent with the appropriate classification standards, and the information required in paragraph 2. It says each report shall include incident, the number and type of